is to help deliver the baby, and also help with milk ejection. After you give birth, okay, you will release milk. Antidiuretic hormones. When you have a problem there, you have dehydration, loss of water from the blood, which increase the blood concentration. Okay, if you don't have enough water in the blood, increased blood concentration, it's getting too thick. The osmotic pressure is too high, it's too thick. Okay. Stimuli is the concentration of blood, amount of water. Target, the kidneys. Function is restore the blood concentration by increasing water absorption. So when you absorb more water, the blood will be more diluted. Okay. So that's the posterior pituitary, oxytocin, and ADH. Anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary, there are 6 hormones here. First one is growth hormones. If you get confused, you can always look back at the chart. Okay. So there's growth hormone. The one we saw next was thyroid stimulating hormone. So this one, thyroid stimulating hormone, it stimulates the thyroid. Okay. Prolactin, adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone. Okay. All stimulated by the hypothalamus, known as tropes, turning because they turn on and off other endocrine glands. Okay. So this is what we talked about earlier in the slide. This is the hormonal part, okay, not the humoral part. So let's look at the first one, growth hormone. Growth hormone targets muscles and bones. The effect, if you have growth hormone, it stimulates protein synthesis, cell replication. So you need growth hormone to grow, okay? Growth hormone, release of growth hormone. Hypothalamus release growth hormone by releasing growth hormone releasing hormone. Okay, so the growth hormone releasing hormone will cause growth hormone to be released. Okay, it stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to release growth hormone. Okay, then it will take glucose sparing effect. Okay, growth, bone cell, muscle, all these things. Okay, diabetogenic effect. Growth hormone stimulate liver to break down glycogen. Glycogen is when you have a lot of glucose, you store them into glycogen, into glucose, okay, to give you more energy. Okay, once you have enough, growth hormone will be inhibited by a growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Okay, then it will stop. Okay, so that's growth hormone, helps you grow. Okay, don't forget glucose is part of this. Okay, glucose is part of this because you need energy. Okay. One more thing to talk about here is that it stimulates adipose cells to break down stored fat, fueling growth effects. So remember, adipose tissue, which is a fat cell, stores a lot of its energy, okay, as fat. Okay, so it will break it down and use as energy. Let's see. Next one, thyroid stimulating hormone. So, what do you think it targets? It targets the thyroid gland, okay, which is in your neck. Effect, growth of gland and produce hormone. Other stimuli, extremely cold, environmental stress can change hormone secretion. Okay, so let's see, where is that picture? The first picture. First picture right here. So anterior pituitary gland release the thyroid stimulating hormones, and then go to the thyroid gland. Okay, go to the thyroid gland and release all these hormones. Growth hormone, thyroid gland. Adrenal corticotropic hormone, ACTH. Again, it will affect the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland. The adrenal gland sits on top of the kidneys. Okay? Here's your spleen. Here's your pancreas. Okay? Effect, it will increase secretion of hormones from the adrenal cortex and keep the cortex from degenerating. ACTH also binds to melanocyte. You remember melanocyte makes melanin in your skin. It will increase pigmentation. This is released in response to decrease in cortical hormone and stress. Luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. We will learn this a whole lot in the reproductive section at the end of AP2. Okay. They will target the ovaries and testes. The effect, regulating growth, development, function. So luteinizing hormones helps with ovulation in women, secretion of sex hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, developmental of the follicle and the sex cells. Okay, it's all when we learn the cycle. Okay, we're going to learn extensively in the cycle, and we're going to see them. So sex hormones, including testosterone in male, also by the luteinizing hormone. Prolactin, I think this is the last one. Okay, prolactin, it helps milk production. Okay, this one would be easy. Okay, stimulate and development of mammary gland during pregnancy and milk production post delivery. Okay. All right, so easy. Let's go back to this chart. Growth hormone, well, anterior pituitary gland, growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, ACTH, follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. Posterior pituitary gland only got two, ADH and oxytocin. Oxytocin is uterus contraction. ADH is for the kidney to absorb water. Luteinizing hormone stimulate the gonads, which is sex cells, and produce androgen, sex hormones. Okay, follicle stimulating hormone stimulate the gonad to produce gametes, which is sex cells. ACTH, it for the adrenal gland. Okay, thyroid stimulating hormone for the thyroid to release hormones. Prolactin is, we just saw that, for milk production, and growth hormone is for body to grow. Okay, so those are the primary hormones we're going to study in this chapter. Okay, so now we're going to study deeper of each cell. Okay, so in the lab you will see a slide like this. Okay, got some big holes. Okay, big holes. So this is a thyroid gland in the slide. Okay, in the middle of the slide they have these a clear substance, okay, called a colloid. Let me see if there's a, okay, well anyway, there's a thick substance called a colloid. Okay, so how does it work? Synthesize and release of hormone. So of course T3 and T4 is the main thing that will be made. Okay, so thyroid stimulating hormones from the pituitary gland, okay, causes iodine to be absorbed and move into the colloid. Okay, in the colloid, the iodine is linked to T3, which is triiodothyroid, thyroid 9, okay, and thyroxine's got 4 iodine, okay, so iodine will be bind to T3 and T4. Then TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and stimulate the endocytosis of colloid into the follicular cells, and enzyme releases the free T3, T4. So at first, it will make T3, T4, then it will endocytosis, it will absorb it again and releasing something called a free T3 and T4 into the blood where it needs to go. Okay? When TSH binds to receptor on the follicle cell, this increases transport of iodine ion. Okay, so, all right, got it? TSH is released, okay, causing iodine to be absorbed, okay? Then, in the colloid, the iodine is linked, right here in the colloid, the iodine is linked to T3 and T4. Then it is now reabsorbed again. It will be endocytosed, okay, into the follicular cells, okay? Then it will be released as free T3 and T4. So that's pretty much what it does, okay? But the thyroid gland helps with metabolism. Let me see if it says here. So it helps with metabolic rate, metabolism, okay? And T3, T4 in the concentration of blood. So when you have low thyroid hormone, okay, the hypothalamus release thyroid releasing hormone. This triggers thyroid stimulating hormones, okay? Then it goes to the thyroid, right? And we already saw how it works. It then triggers the release of the free T3 and T4. Okay, it releases, and then it goes to the mitochondria to increase basal metabolic rate. What it does is it will raise your blood temperature. Effect: increase nutrient breakdown, especially glucose, to increase oxygen use. Once you're all good, warmed up, negative feedback, okay, when you have enough, you will release inhibiting release of the TRH, thyroid releasing hormone. So you will inhibit the release of it, and then no more, okay, because now